Valentine's Day is ruined! Hi my lovelies, it's Rebecca Rogers. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so excited you're here. And of course, per usual, we also have
Avery Rogers,
the friendly neighborhood liar man. It's Tuesday, meaning it's apple picking day, meaning lots of very confused people are looking at me and don't know what that means. Every week, people send in stories on my subreddit, r/AmITheBadApple. People send in stories of situations where they don't know if they acted appropriately or not. We read them, we talk about them, and we just all form an opinion. These opinions are morphed by our everyday life experiences, and we all have different ones, so sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't, and that is okay. We learn through each other through conversation. So without further ado, let's get started with this week's episode of Am I the Bad Apple? Let's go apple picking! Apple number 1. Am I the bad apple for threatening my mother-in-law with her grandchildren? I'm a nurse in the ER. I also have a terrible relationship with my mother-in-law. She came into the ER on Valentine's Day and I went to the room and she immediately demanded a new nurse. To be fair, I was already about to suggest she get a different nurse. I mean, in general, we don't work with family. It's against policy, but she was super rude about it and said I was incompetent. The real issue is mother-in-law was with a date. This man was a family friend. He was actually our father-in-law's, her very recent ex-husband's best friend for 20 years. My husband despises this man and he definitely would have had a strong reaction to her dating him. There were business interactions and falling outs and multiple lawsuits involved. His kids also don't like my mother-in-law, so to say that people would flip out if they knew they were dating is an understatement. I also absolutely can't tell anyone because of HIPAA. I can't even mention to my husband that I saw her in the ER and it's stressing me out really bad. My mother-in-law reminded me of HIPAA at the hospital and I reassured her that I would never risk my career like that. My mother-in-law laughed at me and said that she knew it was gonna drive me crazy to keep this from my husband and she was loving every minute of it. This morning, my mother-in-law texted me that she was just reminding me to let me know she knows her legal rights and she'll destroy my life if I mention anything to anybody. I wrote back again, I'm not going to say anything. I know my job. I asked if she was ever gonna tell her son that she was dating him and she wrote back, maybe if we get married. I told her I thought she was a crappy mom and she said she hardly even sees her kids since she married such a terrible person, me anyways, so it's a non-issue for her. At that point, I just feel like she's goading me because she knows I can't tell my husband and she knows that I won't, but she loves that it's eating me up inside. I wrote back, I might be restrained by HIPAA and I can't say anything about your personal life to my husband, but I can dictate how much time she spends with her future grandkids. So maybe she shouldn't be name calling me and maybe she shouldn't be extremely rude to me for no reason. Maybe she should just fess up to her son. My mother-in-law wrote back that she has no intentions of having any relationships with my kids, but the fact that I would even say that shows the type of person I am, and since I'm a trash person, she doesn't even want to meet my future kids. I expected nothing less from her, but I'm wondering if I took it too far. I mean, I did threaten her with her future grandkids. So was I the bad apple?
I just don't see how that's a HIPAA violation. That's not.
But the only reason she knows is because she was a patient. So like
until she texts her outside of her job and then you just give him the phone. I don't see how there's a HIPAA violation there. Even if it was because her job, HIPAA is specific to the treatment or aid of others. So unless it's like private or privileged information, which dating, who you're dating.
But even being at the hospital, having an appointment, needing to be at the ER,
right,
wouldn't that be privileged information?
Not information on who came to the ER with her unless they were like in an accident and you were giving it to someone else who was going to use the information. I can't see how that's a HIPAA violation. Other people may think differently and I'm sure there's an argument the other way, but just because they were in the hospital with another person wouldn't be grounds to say, hey, you can't tell your husband that she was dating because that has nothing to do with her.
But she said that she wouldn't even be able to tell her husband that she was in the hospital.
In the hospital and what's going on in the hospital and stuff is completely different, but going to your husband and saying, hey, your mother is dating this person has nothing to do with her
So
medical
do you think
history.
that if she said, hey, your mom has a new boyfriend, but I can't tell you why, don't ask me, HIPAA.
I don't see why you would have to not tell why.
I mean, you definitely know more about law things than I do, but it makes sense to me that when she said because of HIPAA, I wouldn't even be able to say my mother-in-law was there.
That's just because
needing
HIPAA
care.
is the big scary thing that no one wants to even bring up or get in trouble. Half the people don't know what's going on. They just are overly sensitive to, you can't share any information, but it has to be specific to, from what I remember, the treatment or emergency information. Who your mother-in-law is dating has nothing to do with emergency information.
The most shocking thing to me is that this mother-in-law doesn't care that she doesn't have a relationship with her son, doesn't care to even meet her future grandchildren. Like, that to me is wild. And I know that my views on family are not shared by everybody. I mean, I love family, but for me, blood doesn't mean, oh, I can treat you however I want to treat you and I can use and abuse and threaten and blah, 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 blah. Like, to me, that's gross. I think it's perfectly reasonable to cut someone off if they're using and abusing and negatively impacting your life, not adding anything positive. Just because they share DNA with somebody doesn't give them the green light to do that. And so for me, do I think that this mother-in-law has the ability to date whoever she wants? I mean, she's a grown woman and she knows it's going to upset her family and she's still doing it anyways. I think that it's fair for there to be consequences. Like, she can date whoever she wants, but she has to understand there could be consequences. People could be upset. People may cut her off or not associate or whatever. That's her choice, you know, she can do whatever they want. They have the right to react in their own way. But I don't think it's wrong of this woman to say, you are threatening me, you are harassing me. If you keep goading me, if you keep taunting me, I'm just gonna make sure that my future kids aren't around this kind of thing. Like, to me, that doesn't seem unreasonable.
I don't think you're wrong, but you know I have the opposite opinion on these things, that vindication is never the answer.
I don't necessarily see it that way. I see it more as a, look, this is the kind of environment that you are creating. I don't want to be a part of that, and I don't want my future kids to be a part of that. So if that's the vibes that you continue to give off, that's your choice, but a consequence of that is going to be that you're not a part of our lives and you're not a part of our grandkids' lives, because that's not the kind of influence I want them to be exposed to. I don't see that as vindication. I see that as fairness. I'm teetering between crab and good apple. I really am.
See, I'm gonna say crab, and maybe this will help you out, because there is nothing that would push you towards good apple in this story. I guess you consider a good apple someone who hasn't done anything wrong, but this person hasn't done anything right or wrong in this situation necessarily. She's just a little more wrong than she is.
I'm more so thinking about
Right,
how
in my
she's
mind.
reacting to the situation at hand. She has a terrible relationship with her mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law comes to her job, calls her incompetent in front of her colleagues.
I don't think she meant to come to her job.
Whether or not she meant to go to the ER, who knows what was wrong. Obviously, no one means to get hurt and have to go to the ER. But she was at the daughter-in-law's job, called her incompetent, and then kept dangling this thing of, I know it's gonna bother you that you can't say you saw me there with this guy, so I'm just gonna remind you that I will ruin you.
I don't think the mother is a good person
I don't
for
either.
doing all that, but I don't think she did anything right either.
She reassured her at the hospital, I'm never gonna risk my job like that. And then she brought it up again and specifically said, I'm going to ruin your life, XYZ. And she's like, okay, I can't say anything about this. You know it's my job, but if this is the way you're gonna be, you're not gonna see your future grandkids. And again, I do think she, in this particular instance, was being a little bit more spiteful. I don't think it was just a, oh, this is unsafe, I have to, like, there's no kids right now. I think she was just trying to hurt her back, which is why I'm kind of leaning towards crabapple, because it's not like she's actively trying to protect kids that are here. She's honestly just trying to back at her. Okay, I'll go crabapple.
Okay, so the introduction to HIPAA, and I'm not going into the full thing. Federal law that requires the creation of national standards to protect sensitive patient health information from being disclosed without the patient's consent or knowledge. I don't think, hey, you might need to check on your mother, she has a new boyfriend, would be patient health information that is sensitive and need of protection.
I think that it could be argued though.
Sure, anything
And
can
of
be
course
argued.
there's going to be questions. How do you know?
What does that matter? And I think once you get the text messages, that pushes it over. I think you could just hand him the phone. There's no private or sensitive information after that. No matter what you think on the first situation, I think once you send a text that says, haha, you can't tell that I'm dating this person, I think you just hand him the phone. Plus you have spousal privilege. We're going to run into that as well.
The friendly neighborhood lawyer man.
Spousal privilege probably only runs into criminal law, so you're probably not. HIPAA could be a criminal violation.
What do you guys think? I really want to know, especially on your apple vote. Crab apple, good apple, bad apple. What do you think? I did think she was being a little spiteful. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Did we change your mind? Did we just solidify your decision? Let us know down in the comments. Would love to hear it. Apple number 2. Am I the bad apple for getting my girlfriend a thoughtful Valentine's Day present?
Yes.
Hi there, I'm 28 male and my girlfriend is 24 female. My mom got me a bidet for Christmas and it changed my life. I love it. I honestly don't have enough wonderful things to say about having a bidet. So for Valentine's Day, I got my girl the typical flowers and chocolate, a necklace, and a bidet. I honestly thought it was a great idea. I legitimately thought she'd love it. And I also got my mom and my sister one and they love theirs. I got my girlfriend a really good one. I set it all up for her and everything. When my girlfriend saw what I got for her, she was pissed off. She said I was insinuating that she was dirty and then I was passively aggressively telling her she needs to clean herself better. My girlfriend's a meticulously clean person and I've never had any complaints about how she grooms herself and she always smells great and is waxed and clean everywhere. I honestly just wanted to share the joy my bidet brought me with her. Was this a bad judgment call? Am I the bad apple? I thought it was really thoughtful. I think there are people out there with all the best intentions who, when they are shopping for people, they're really shopping for themselves.
I don't think that's even the way to analyze this one. This dude didn't need it for himself. He was just like,
this is a life-changing invention. Have you ever had water on your tush-tush?
I can't. Oh my gosh, I'm crying.
I think we'll both agree that he is just a good apple. I don't know where you were going with your analyzing, but he got her the regular chocolates, the flowers. He did everything right on Valentine's Day. And then he went above and beyond and got her a nice gift and installed it. She could have just not used it.
I was actually thinking of maybe going crab apple a little bit.
I've already told you what you're going on this one. If he had gone and gotten her
only a bidet,
a computer or a video game console or, you know, name your thing, a puzzle, and this person hated puzzles or hated that he played video games or something like that, I think that would be more along your argument. Even if it were something like, hey, I went and got you this type of food, when she's just like, I don't really, it is what it is, or this present where she's like, I don't really care, I guess it was nice, but it was for him to take and use. Because we all do that sometimes. But if it were something like that, I could see it.
Yeah.
But it's not. In this, it was one thing where he was like, this is a life-changing experience for me. I don't know why he's so excited about this, mind you. But he's like, you know, I can't live without it. It's not something that he installed in his house, not something that he might plan on using it if he's at apartment or wherever she is now, but it's like, this is gonna be great for her. I know that she's very clean and organized, and this is just gonna take it to the next level. I don't think he was sitting there thinking,
I'm gonna get this in 3 weeks.
Plus he got her everything else.
Yes, and that's why I think I will go good apple, because he really went above and beyond, and he got chocolates and flowers, necklace, that's very nice.
Everyone else.
He genuinely thought she was gonna love it. Like, there was nothing malicious in it. I kind of side eye a little bit when I got the most thoughtful thing ever, I'm the best gift giver, and they're really just giving people things that they want.
It's not something he wants, though.
But
it's something he thought everyone should love and need.
Right, but he's only thinking about himself and what he loves.
He sold
and what
me
he
in the
needs.
story. Everyone needs a bidet now. He sold it.
Apple number 3. Am I the bad apple for putting my family first? I, 29 female, and the oldest of 3 siblings, a brother 28 and a sister who we'll call Emma who's 21. I'm extremely protective towards my siblings. I mean, we had workaholic parents that were never around, so I basically raised my siblings. When me and my 30-year-old husband met 7 years ago, I explained that I'm basically their mother, and when they need me, I will drop everything to go to them. Even before we got married, I made him promise to me that he accepted my loyalty to my siblings. They always come first. Recently, my sister did something stupid which caused her childhood sweetheart, who she'd been with since she was 15, to ghost her. For the last few weeks, she's been staying in our home, and I've been trying to help her through her first heartbreak, which she's been taking really badly. Like, think Bella in New Moon badly. Of course, with Valentine's Day being so close, it was gonna be a lot harder for her. So you can imagine my anger and rage when my husband decorated our bedroom for Valentine's Day and got me over-the-top gift baskets with extremely expensive skincare and makeup. I don't know if he just made a stupid mistake trying to mean well, or if he did it to prove a point, cause he's a little crabby towards my sister, and he might have just been trying to rub it in her face. He hasn't shown her any pity or sympathy, and nor does he support me treating her like a baby. On Valentine's Day, he called me and said to get ready because he was gonna take me out to surprise me, and honestly, I needed a break out of the house. I was glad we weren't fighting anymore. While I was getting ready to go out, my sister came into my room sobbing and had a whole breakdown, and it ended in a panic attack. She was crying in my arms when my husband came home, dressed ready to go in his suit, and I just mouthed, "Sorry." My husband threw down the roses in his hands and screamed, "F it! I can't take this crap anymore!" He came back around 3 a.m. and just slept on the floor of our bedroom, all by his own wishes, and hasn't spoken to me since. My brother told me that I was in the right because family comes first, but all of my friends are on my husband's side. So was it wrong for me to be there for my sister when she needed me? Okay, so the facts that we have is that this girl is 21, the sister. She's 21 years old. She apparently did something stupid that made her boyfriend leave her. I think it's very nice that her sister's like, yeah, come stay with us while you're doing whatever, but I think that expecting her sister and her sister's husband to drop everything going on in their lives because she did something stupid to end her relationship is a little excessive.
I don't think she expected that, at least from reading the story. I think the sister took it upon herself, which is where
the brother is like, yeah, that's what you should have done. I assume that the siblings all are in agreement that this was the right way to act.
Well, I'm sure the 21-year-old sister thought, yeah, that's the right way to act.
Right, and the 21 sister is like, it's Valentine's Day, and I know that my sister's getting ready to go on a date, but I'm gonna go into her room. And like, yeah, she was having a hard time, blah, 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 blah. Like, I get that, but at the same time, I don't think that everyone else putting their lives on hold because you did something to end your relationship is fair. Even if it was vice versa and the boyfriend did something to end their relationship, I don't think that means that the sister can't live her life. And honestly, for her to be mad that the husband decorated their bedroom, it's not like he decorated the whole house. It was confined into a private area that the sister wouldn't have even seen, the 21-year-old wouldn't have even gone into.
It could have been out of spite. It's possible. She said that it was possible.
Well, she's like, well, he hasn't showed her any sympathy. Why would he? I think that if it was trying to be spiteful, that he would have done it in the house, not just in the bedroom, where it would be reasonable for him to think that the little sister wouldn't go into there. And then he buy his wife all of this makeup and skincare and whatever, and the only reaction that you give him is being angry? I think it's really weird for the first reaction to be like, think of the sister. Why? He's trying to do something nice for his wife for Valentine's Day, and the only thing she does in return is be angry with him. Why can she not be the least little bit of appreciative that he clearly planned for? He probably planned and ordered all that stuff before everything even happened with the sister. Most likely, for it to be there for Valentine's Day. Like, a lot of that expensive stuff, you do it way in advance. And then on top of that, like, you're going on a date. I I think that you should be able to have the night off from momming her, because she has a mother, for her to be like, oh, well, I'm their mom because our parents were workaholics. I totally understand if your parents weren't there for you as much as you feel like they should have been. We don't have a lot of information on what this means, but I'm assuming that their parents worked really hard to be able to provide for their kids, whether they felt like it was they just worked too much and they didn't need to, or they were working multiple jobs to put food on the table. We don't know. I can't even imagine how upset that mom would feel for her to tell people, I raised them, I'm their mom. And I know that there are situations in which siblings have really stepped in and helped raise their siblings, but this doesn't strike me as a neglect kind of situation, an abuse kind of situation, a traumatic kind of anything. She's just, well, we had workaholic parents. It sounds like she's in this very codependent relationship with her siblings, that she has to be the one looking after them. She has to be there. She has to be like, I think she needs to take some of that time for herself and for her immediate household. When she has kids, are they gonna take the backseat to her siblings too? I think that's really unfair that going on a date with her husband on Valentine's Day can be nixed so easily by, this is now week 2 of my sister upset. I think that there's a difference between being there for family and making them a priority and being there for your loved ones, and then expecting everyone else around you to put their lives and things that they want on hold for she made a mistake and she's upset she made it. So now we're going on multiple weeks of her staying here and controlling what we do in our own house. I don't like that. I say bad apple.
See, I'm not exactly sure where I stand. If you went to the societal view on things, or what people expect to happen, etc., I think it would be the opposite of your opinion. Because if you look at any show, any soap opera, Friends, this is the situation that happens. Something exactly like this, and then the show kind of forces you to think, well, no, if you didn't take care of your family, or you didn't take care of the person that, you were helping, that was staying with you, then you're kind of the bad person for not
I think
skipping one night of Valentine's Day, because you could have done Valentine's Day the next day or the next week, or you could have.
I think the difference is that she wouldn't even take his presents. Like, that to me is really the game changer of even just him trying to surprise her with something in their home was not just she didn't like it, but she was angry and yelled at him for it. And he became the villain when he's just trying to do something nice for Valentine's Day.
I think she was just going into the fact that they didn't have a positive relationship, or what she thought was a positive relationship in the past, and she thought he was going out of his way, which he may have been.
Well, she's like, he's not showing her any sympathy. Why would he? She did it. That's like a very big passion point for me, is people who use, abuse, cheat, whatever in their like, she clearly did something stupid. I don't know what it is, but I don't have sympathy for those kinds of people.
As she could have been in a relationship that wasn't so positive.
You cannot convince me that's the case. This is a helicopter sister. To me, it seems like she will justify anything and everything her sister does. And she says, my sister did something stupid and now she's going through a heartbreak. For her to admit that her sister did something wrong tells me a lot. Well, the husband doesn't have sympathy for her. That also tells me a lot. I don't think that it was just some stupid misunderstanding. I think the sister did something wrong, something along the lines of cheating, manipulating, whatever. I don't have sympathy for those people. And again, I don't agree that the husband is unjustified with being upset that both his surprise and his dinner that he put together himself to do something for his wife were just thrown back into his face. I don't think his reaction is unjustified. I feel really bad for him.
He still had to sleep on the floor.
He chose to sleep on the floor.
She should have been in the doghouse.
Yeah, she should have. I think so. I go bad apple.
Okay, bad apple.
Apple number 4. Am I the bad apple for not getting my wife a Valentine's Day present? I'm in trouble this week and I'm not sure that I deserve to be. I, 35 female, didn't get anything for my wife, 36 female, for Valentine's Day this year. Now hear me out. I told her in August that since I was going to be unemployed and going to law school full time the next 3 years, that I wouldn't be getting her or anyone else presents for the next 3 years. I mentioned this to everybody, including her, multiple times. She was then kind of mad at me for not getting her anything for Christmas, despite what I've been telling her since August. But she got over that pretty quickly and all was fine. But Monday morning, I texted her Happy Valentine's Day. She always leaves for work before I get up. I didn't get her any presents because, again, I don't have any money. My wife was very, very angry that I didn't get her anything for Valentine's Day. She said I could have just gotten her a small gift or even something handmade. I told her, honestly, that didn't even cross my mind, as I don't have any money for gifts, but I'll try to do that in the future. I then made her a homemade card, but she said it didn't count because she had to ask for it. I just can't win. She also knows that I don't like Valentine's Day in general, as she knows it reminds me of a very traumatic school event that happened in 2008. And I don't mean like a petty friend squabble, I mean like someone came onto campus and hurt people. I've also had a cold all week and I haven't been feeling well, and she's still mad at me days later and reiterated the same points. It's now almost a week later and she still says she wants to forgive me but is still upset and feels like me not getting her something means that I don't care. I said I don't feel like I should have to apologize, as I told her I wouldn't have any money to get any gifts months ago and she still won't listen. So am I the bad apple?
This person sounds like a lawyer, for sure.
100%. Bad apple. Court is adjourned. I think that there is a general issue amongst society with this idea that when you do something nice for someone, it has to cost money. And I am so against that sentiment, whether it's giving someone a gift or a present or making them feel special or just trying to do a good deed. There are so many ways that you can do something like that and make someone feel loved and show someone that you care about them without having to spend a dime.
Sorry, Hallmark. We didn't mean it.
You could go get printer paper at the law school, okay? I know there's a printer at the law school. We have some experience with law school here. Go to law school, get some printer paper and a pen, and make coupons. I'm gonna make dinner this week. I will give you a foot rub, movie night coupons. Or even something as small as like, hey, I know that I don't have a really big budget for gifts, but I'm gonna clean the house for you. Or this chore that you hate doing, I'm gonna do that for you as a Happy Valentine's Day, and I'm thinking of you, and I want you to know that I love you and that you're cared for. Like, there are things that you can do for people that don't cost money or even just cost a couple bucks, you know? Getting a flower from the grocery store. At Target, at the checkout line, you know, just those $2 candy bars. There are things that you could do that is different than just, hey, I know you're already up and on your day. Happy Valentine's Day. I don't actually want to do anything for you, but you know, it is what it is. To be clear, we don't really do gifts for holidays like this. Like, we're very much of a, hey, you want this? I'm gonna get it for you because it's a Tuesday and I love you. Like, we're not a, oh, it's Valentine's Day, let's do something extra special on this day. But when your wife has told you, you know, hey, I know you don't have a big budget, but it upset me that there was no extra thought of me on Christmas, I feel like completely disregarding and ignoring Valentine's Day also does kind of make you the jerk, because it's not like it's just a, oh, well, I told her in August I wasn't gonna do any gifts, and then all of a sudden she's surprised there's no gifts. It's a, no, you told her you wouldn't buy anything. And then during Christmas, she was like, I feel like something could have still been done. And instead of actually taking that to heart and thinking about it, you just completely disregarded it for Valentine's Day too. And you're like, oh, well, I'll do some of these things that are homemade or $2 in the future. Will you? Is that not the same excuse that you gave at Christmas or something? Like, I don't like the whole, my partner said they really needed something to feel loved and validated, and I'm just gonna ignore it because I don't want to bother with it. Like, that's kind of gross to me. Like, I know we don't really do gifts, but neither of us really care about that. This other partner clearly stated, I just want to feel a little extra loved on this day. And I feel like some effort could have been put forth to ensure that happened, you know?
I mean, I also feel I feel for the other person, where if she said, you know, I don't think we should do gifts for the next little bit because, you know, we're gonna have budgetary issues, etc., etc. I get doing something nice or doing something like that, but if she had sat down and they both agreed not to do gifts or not to do anything for each other, then...
But it's not that they sat down and they're like, we're not gonna do anything. She said, hey, I'm not gonna have the money to buy you gifts. And I can see in the wife's brain how to her, there would still be some nice gesture. I'm gonna make you dinner tonight.
But I also see that this person is in law school.
Yes.
February, they're gonna be in school. That's
right
in the middle of the start of that semester. I also know how normal people go through law school is that it's like a 10 to 16 hour day most days if you do everything you're supposed to do. I can also see where, you know, maybe they read the 250 pages of assigned work the night before and was just like, well, it's Valentine's Day. It's just another day. I'll say Happy Valentine's Day. We'll be together. It'll be great.
I would agree if Christmas wasn't already an issue. Like, they already talked about how doing absolutely nothing was not acceptable. She's already vocalized that. So to me, just saying, oh, well, she got over it quick last time, so she'll get over it quick this time, that is not taking into consideration your partner's need to feel loved.
Assuming they are in a country that is predominantly Christian, or at least Orthodox to the effect that they celebrate Christmas, which I'm guessing they do. Probably America, from what happened in there in the law school context. It's a good guess that they weren't in school, or that person was not in school during the holidays for Christmas. If they're actually in school and have been in school for a month now in law school, you might not have time.
You also have to remember that if one of the significant others is in law school full-time, no job, that means everything that they have is due to the most likely due to the other partner.
Well, from what it sounds from the story, it doesn't sound like their marriage is the, okay, we're all going to combine bank accounts and everything's going to be great. It sounds like they're splitting funds, and
it doesn't sound like that to me.
She said that she has no money.
Yeah, I have no money.
I have no money.
Yeah.
If it were together, generally people would just be like, okay, we'll use my funds, etc. So if there were plenty of funds to provide for each other, and she wasn't on loan,
plenty, because it is still a one-income household. But how do you know that's not why?
If you pull out a loan, it's a two-income household.
We don't know the kind of loan that she has. We don't know the kind of income that they have. We know that they're in whatever financial situation they're in, and one spouse still expected something to feel validated. And it's already been a problem for one holiday. So regardless, it's like, yes, the one spouse is in law school and is going through a lot, but that's not the only human involved in this relationship. It's not just about what they need.
I agree.
If this other spouse has already vocalized, all I need is a small gesture during the big holidays to feel loved. Just because you're in law school or med school or whatever doesn't mean that everyone around you's needs go out the window. You chose to get married and have whatever kind of family before you took, your family just doesn't go away. And if something as little as, I just want to feel loved and validated, is something that you can't do, then maybe you should not have gotten married, or maybe you shouldn't have gone to law school. If you can't manage to take 5 seconds to write a note to your significant other just saying, I love you, when they've already vocalized doing nothing isn't an option, that's gross to me.
I'm just saying, I see it from the other side. I understand where that person is coming from.
If it was the first time this came up, like if Christmas never happened, I'd go crabapple, for sure. But the fact that Christmas already happened, I just cannot get on board with them not being a bad apple when just a couple months ago, her spouse said, I need to feel loved by something.
You've already put the gavel down, so
I did.
I guess we have to say bad apple.
Are you going to agree with me, or are you going to go crab apple?
I've got to say bad apple. It's like taking a bite out of crime.
Really?
I just think that, there is an argument on the other side that they are going through something in their life, and they did have an agreement to not worry about the holidays as much. I think they should have been more. I would have done more.
You always do more. So this is how holidays work in our household. We always say we're not gonna do something. We're gonna do nothing because Avery hates presents. Avery's the kind of person that's like, oh, I was ordering Amazon Fresh and I saw they had cookies on sale, so I got you cookies because I was thinking of you. Avery does nice things for me all the time, even though he won't admit it. So holidays aren't super huge for us because we do things for each other on a daily basis. And then even though we agreed we're not gonna do anything, I usually still see some kind of package at the door the day of.
Well, that's because you've ordered another Amazon.
So then we got 2 bad, 1 good, and a crap. We didn't do the curse! We didn't get the curse!
Someone had to be good in there.
We're free! 2 bad, a crab, and a good. Did you agree with us? Did you not agree with us? Did you have a strong opinion on one of these stories like we clearly did? Let us know down in the comments what you thought, what your votes were, if there was another perspective or a lens that you thought of that maybe we didn't, or did you agree or disagree with one of us in our almost heated discussion? Apple done! Happy Valentine's Day to you guys. I hope that your nights are wonderful, whether you're spending it with a loved one or with some friends or just by yourself on the couch. I hope you have a great time. Regardless of your situation, I hope you feel loved because we love you. At least I love you. Avery does too, he might not admit it, but we love you. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and I hope to see you next week. Bye, my lovelies. Bad Apple adjourned. Mwah.